Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more.
Do you ever sit there thinking about how you can take your life to that next level, whether that be building more confidence, making more money, having a better social environment that empowers you and uplifts you, having the fitness or the body that you desire? A lot of those results will come back to how well you plan, right? The first point or the first step is setting that goal, setting that intention for what result or what outcome you want from your life. And then you need to follow that up with a plan, you know, the roadmap on how you're going to get there, what that's going to look like, what your commitment to self is, the standards, the skills, and the action. And then finally, you need to do what I just said. Back that up with action. There's no good having a goal. There's no good having a plan unless you're implementing it, right? And today with Emma from It's in Her Planner, we talk about why you should plan, what you can achieve versus what you don't achieve when planning, why you should stop identifying as busy, and so much more that we chat about throughout this episode. And it is going to be an absolute banger for you and something that you can really simply and effectively implement into your life right away. I live my life by a calendar, right? By my planner and by the plan that I've got to achieve the outcomes that I want. Okay, because often in life, when life gets busy, we all have that where you might have children looking at you, might have clients, you might have friends, you might have social media just pinging and notifying you all the time. It's very hard to stay focused, and that can often lead to feeling overwhelmed, and then obviously leading to being unproductive with your time because your head's kind of spinning. Well, that's at least what it feels like for me. So by having that plan laid out in front of me, when I do go through that overwhelm and I feel like my head's like a blender, I just open up my diary and go, right, these were the 3 steps that I had. This is what I needed to get done today, which is going to help me achieve my weekly objective, which will then help me achieve my monthly, quarterly, annual goals. All right, so keep it simple. You're going to get a heap of value from this episode. Now, like I was saying, if you want more help and support and guidance with that, check out the Strong Men of Value Academy. We go through all of this stuff. We teach you the fundamentals on how to build confidence, how to build and create more resilience in yourself so that you can pursue your potential, right? It's some very fundamental skills that help you do that. But being supported, almost did a little bit of a rap there when I was like, but, where you're supported by a crew of like-minded men who want to hold you to your commitment, right? They don't let you fucking waver, but they're also there to support you through the challenges and adversity along the way, because every day you should be doing one thing that's going to make you better for tomorrow. That's my belief. So if you want to apply for that, applications are open now. Head over to themanthatcanproject.com/strongmen of value and go through the application process. And if you're lucky enough to get in, I look forward to seeing you guys in there and helping you guys take your life to that next level. Let's dive into today's episode. The Man That Can Project podcast, a podcast empowering career-driven men to live more fulfilling lives. We are here to challenge your beliefs, redefine success, and talk about the important stuff in a relatable way. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. My name's Lachlan Stuart. Let's get into it. Doing things a little bit differently. Actually, we're not doing things differently. We're fucking getting it done. We've got Emma joining us from It's in Her Planner. I'm very excited for this episode.
So am I.
And what I know a lot of blokes are going to be doing is messaging women in their life, or even, I know there's a lot of ladies that listen to this as well, who have continually hit me up going, is there anyone that does what you do but for women? And we now have a solution.
Here I am.
Here we are, which is very exciting.
What are your other 2 wishes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, bloody hell. So it's going to be good fun. We're going to find out a little bit more about It's in Her Planner, but talk about planning and a whole heap of other stuff. But before we do, can we find a little bit more about you, Emma, and how you sort of got into or created It's in Her Planner and what your life was like up until that point?
Yep. Not that I identify as this, but I am a police officer by day, full time. I've been doing that for 10 years. I've been a huge planner, I would say, my whole life. And so I was at a point when I was in the police that I thought, I don't think this is something that I want to do for the rest of my life. And I need something outside of that. I needed a creative outlet. And so I thought, why not take my passion for planning and create something with it? So about 4 or 5 years ago, I designed and created a yearly planner that was designed for women. And so I started that. That was called Canvas. And I ran that for 4 years. Just got to the point that I realised I had completely burnt myself out, essentially, trying to do both and trying to do everything at the same time. So I ended up selling Canvas, but I realised that there was still so much that I wanted to do around planning, and there was probably a year or two there where I really had to dive deep into my own life and the things that I was allowing into my life and the things that I was going through, and I sort of, I guess, found the magic formula to living your best life, and I realised that I wanted to help teach women how to apply that into their own life so they could sort of follow suit.
That's epic. Was it challenging for you at that point? Because you've said you've spent 10 years as a police officer now to start going, shit, maybe this isn't what I want to do for the rest of my life?
I don't think so, no. I think it's a really hard job to be in long term. It's really challenging. When I talk to people about who I was as a person before I joined the police and who I am now, it's significantly different. And I guess for me, like, a major focus of mine was I didn't ever want to lose the things that made me feel special, I guess. And I felt like I was losing that along the way when it became to being a police officer. You just see so many horrible things and you're dealing with, the worst people. So I just, there's definitely like an end date for me when it comes to that. And I think at first I really struggled with that, but now I've just come to accept that, there's so much more of a difference I can make, I guess, outside of that and what I'm doing with It's in Her Planner. You lose a lot of faith that you can make a difference, I guess, within the QPS. And I definitely take my hat off to people that are just so committed to doing the job, but I'm just at a point where I'm so tired. And I just feel like I'm way more, my cup is so much more full when I'm focusing on It's in Her Planner and the difference I can make there. So
I think it's awesome that you're going out, and it's something that I wanted to talk to you about as well, is pursuing your dreams and I guess what fills your cup up and you feel passionate about, because there definitely can be an element when you've been in a career for a certain period of time. I speak to a lot of blokes who aren't happy and aren't fulfilled, and we brainstorm certain ideas that maybe they're interested in more, and it's like, well, just go give it a crack. Yes, your life may be busy, and the older we get, the more generally responsibilities we may have with mortgages, family, all that sort of stuff, even businesses. But that's, in my opinion, no excuse for why we shouldn't pursue what we've got, because we've got limited time here and we need to make it exciting. So for you, the cool thing is you're utilizing something that's going to help you, or has helped you, get out of or get into a new career as your career, which is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And I didn't realise, I think, that it had that potential, or that it was something I could pursue full time until just recently.
What was it for you that was like that light bulb moment that were you like, I can do this?
I mean, I think I definitely have moments, and all it takes, I think, is really sitting down and reflecting on what my goals are and what I'm actually doing to achieve those things. I think we can get really relaxed sometimes, or if we get busy and we don't really keep that bigger picture in mind at the end of the day, and we're not actually taking active action towards it, we can forget what our end goal is. But I guess for me, it's just realising that what I do is valuable, And it only takes me to sit down and look at like what I'm doing, how I'm doing it before I'm like, this is fucking exciting. And I know so many people would get value out of that. So I guess it's just that belief, but I'm definitely not immune to self-doubt and, questioning whether or not you can do these things every now and again.
I think I can definitely relate to what you said then, where you sometimes maybe don't value the impact that what you do happens, because we both focus so much on, I guess, the structure and the process. And people aren't buying necessarily the structure and the process. It's what the structure and process gives them, which could be more family time. It could be better health. It could be more exciting relationships or free time, whatever it is. And from planning, that's what I like to get out of it, or more productivity. It's not so much for me getting down and writing. Some days I'm loving it. Some days I'm like, I just want to go to the gym or go for a walk or something. But it's, once again, I don't always enjoy brushing my teeth. Actually, I never really enjoy brushing my teeth. I enjoy having good breath and maybe just a good smile. But sometimes it's the process that we have to get used to in order to move through it. But you were talking about busy before.
Yeah.
So it's one of my favourite words, which I try to pull myself up on. But what's been your experience with, I guess, that label? And I like saying label because so many people are busy doing shit that's not really important, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely guilty of it. I think when I was running Canvas especially, I always use the excuse, I'm busy. And I think in the moments where I'm saying that I'm busy, it are the moments where I'm neglecting, my relationships, my health. So I don't think being busy is something to be proud of, because it ultimately means that you're sacrificing in other areas of your life. And I think there's the other areas of your life that, I particularly focus on in the membership, like your movement, your spaces, your mindset, and all of those things require you to not be busy, or planning around those things alleviates that. And I think when you actually sit down, when you're considering yourself busy, when you sit down and look at what you're doing, you realize there's so much shit that you're putting attention on or spending energy doing that you don't actually need to. That if you put focus in the other areas, just there's so much better outcomes for you, I guess. So for me, I no longer use the word busy as like something to be proud of.
It's like that hustle culture's made it cool. And it's fucking not cool. Like, not cool.
I see the hustle term thrown around and honestly it makes me cringe because I'm like, who the fuck wants to spend their life hustling?
No, it's not fun.
No.
You talked about it before. You were burnt the fuck out and I've been burnt out.
Exactly. You can only do it for so long before you realise that, oh, fuck, I'm actually, like, now I don't want to do anything. And, like, you can't maintain that for too long.
And it's like for the blokes who are listening and think that their partners or sisters or mothers and stuff would benefit from Minute Planner, or similar to what we do in the Strong Men of Value Academy, you're not doing it to give them processes and habits. You're doing it to see them happy, to see them more engaged in their life. Like, that's what we all want. And hustling is not going to do that. There's maybe sprints that you need to do in certain areas, but you spoke about before, one of the things that you focus on, which is very similar to us, we have these different areas to focus on, and it's every day you should really be giving some time to those spaces.
All of them,
Whereas it's very easy to go 9 to 5 or whatever the work hours that you are in, that's where I'm going to work. And then from 5 till maybe 9 when you go to bed, I'm just going to be a grumpy bastard on the couch and, have all my loved ones around me and they're not going to get the best of me. And it just doesn't make sense.
Or my loved ones don't even hear from me at all.
Which is even worse. It's fucking way, way worse. So go back to the, if you could go back to the breakdowns that you have, why do you feel it's important for everyone to sort of focus on that? And how did you, I guess, or why are those specific areas important to you?
Trial and error in my own life. I feel like I've been the test dummy for the membership. I went through a stage where I just felt like every element of my life needed a complete overhaul. And so I was almost ruthless in my pursuit to figure out like what works across the board. And for me, I felt like I had achieved the most when I actually stripped everything back, instead of like filling up my to-do list with things to do. I realized that my happiness and when I feel the most calm and the most fulfilled is when I spend time moving every day. being aware of the habits that I've implemented into my life, whether that's a morning or a night routine or both. I was really focused, and not that like money is everything, but to me, having financial freedom, especially as a woman, like it's really important that you are in control of your finances and you know, like long term, like you've got a plan in place, and I just think it's really empowering to know that like you've got financial goals and you can achieve them.
Yep.
And like I'm super proud. One of the things that I've done, and this isn't, I guess, to like toot my own horn, but I bought my own property back in 2017 on my own, and in I think it's 5 years I've paid over half of it off, which
That's
is like
insane.
massive for me. But I think I wouldn't have been able to do that unless I set these goals in place for myself. So I think they don't have to be big and grand, like for your movement goals. Like it can just be to move 4 or 5 times a week.
Yep.
And a lot of people, I think, when they're setting goals, they expect the results to come immediately. But I want people to realize that you can set a goal, and the massive difference, you'll notice it 6 months down the track, 12 months down the track. Like, look how far I've come by just implementing these small things into my life. So I guess, to answer your question, it was I've focused on these things myself, and I've realized that, you know, my worth doesn't come from how many things I tick off my to-do list every day. It comes from doing the things that make me feel like alive, happy, fulfilled, you know, and that are filling my cup up. So
that's a great point. Like, it doesn't come from all the stuff that you tick off.
Yeah.
My wife, Amy, she's just like, you fucking try to do too much in a day, and then by the end of the day, you just still not satisfied. And it's something that I'm aware of and really trying to work on. And once again, I think I've come from that work hard, you'll do better. And it's more so now, it's my focus is on health, all these things that are important that I haven't always neglected, but it's just giving more to those. And I'm going to see whether it flips and grows my business more and makes me happier and more pleasant to probably be around.
Yeah.
And just excited for life. So I think that's a great point, touching on that. Like, so many blokes are trying to just tick off more stuff. When you see their to-do list, it's like, fuck, I didn't finish it. I'm going to have to add it to tomorrow. It's like, do you really? Is it that important?
Yeah.
If you didn't do it, what would happen?
I've become the queen of like crossing things off and being like, actually, I don't even know why I put that on my to-do list to start with. It's not important. It's not adding value. It's not like doing anything for me. And I've realized that if I actually focus on these foundational things, I am more productive. I am like better at getting things done off my to-do list. I feel like I have more energy. I have more time, which is a weird concept, but surprisingly it works.
It's very true though. Like, if you look after your body and you have more energy, you have more mental clarity, then you're going to fly through the things. How do you set, I guess for you, if someone's listening, they don't plan at all, what's that process look like? Like, do you start with a goal and work back, or how does that all work?
I've always said that there's a real big difference between goals and intentions. And one thing that I really push with the membership is to dedicate at least an hour every Sunday to planning your week ahead. Yep. I think that's where like all of your success will come from, is being like intentional. I use the word intentional a lot. So you have to be intentional with your time. You have to be intentional with the actions that you do. And so I think there are people out there that are like, well, I don't really have any big goals, so therefore I must be failing or something. You don't actually have to have any goals. Like, you could just want to, you know, have a really healthy, loving relationship. You could just want to feel healthy at the end of it. You don't have to have a goal to start a business or start a podcast or whatever the case may be. So for me, I like to get people to differentiate between goals and intentions. And intentions can be to drink 3 litres of water a day, to go to the gym 4 times a week, to really have healthy morning and evening routines. And then once you nail those things, then build on them. If you then decide, you know, I really want my Saturdays to be like a day where I can work on something that I love. I don't know, that can be like, I want to be really good at rollerblading or
sweet.
whatever it is to you. Like, you have to have time for those passions, or you can never work out or figure out what lights you up if you don't give yourself the time to do that. And if you only ever want to just have intentions, I think it's really important to like be cool with that as well.
100%. It's so important, as you said, if you don't give time to figure out, maybe even purpose, what makes you happy, what lights you up, as you said, how the fuck do you ever expect to find it? Especially when a lot of the blokes that I work with, it's like I look at their calendars and they're trying to fit a meeting in with me and they're like, nah. I'm like, well, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately, you have to sacrifice something.
Yeah.
What could be more important than working out or mapping out the rest of your life? Because otherwise you're going to be on this constant hamster wheel where you don't have time for things that are important.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be happy at the end of it. And I've never really separated, so it's cool to listen to you speaking then, like goals and also intentions. I've just always labelled it goals, but now I'm going to start using what you say. Is like thinking about it as intentions, because it's purely that. Like when you think about a relationship, what could the goal be? Well, for some people it might be getting married, maybe I've use that as goal, but the intention is to just be a fucking awesome partner. So day by day, what are the intentions that you have to show up and execute on that?
Yeah.
And often people become passive or passengers because we're just, the only thing we really give attention to or focus to is work.
Yeah.
But everything else is just like...
Yeah, I believe strongly in that. Like, do you want to dictate your own life, or do you want your life to dictate you? And that's why I think if you don't have an hour a week to sit down and plan out like what you're doing, where you're spending your time, who you're spending it with, then like you probably need the membership more than anyone.
More than anyone.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
You need to, it's likening it to probably when you can't afford things, but you probably need to invest in them.
Yeah.
You know, when someone's pet gets sick and, you know, dog bills are fucking expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And most people don't have $5,000 laying around for a leg operation or something. I'm only saying this because my parents' staffies keep having their hips replaced. It's like that. And I'm like, all right, well, they find a way to make it happen. And that's the way I believe we should be looking at other areas of our life. Like, and we should also be finding a way before we get to the crisis point.
Exactly.
And that's where I guess planning. So from even a planning, because I plan a lot and I have intentions and I do tick things off. I love doing that.
The good dopamine.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? What would be some things that you've noticed, I guess, from people who do plan versus those who don't? Or even from your own experience in life when you have started planning and probably prior to that when you didn't plan? I know you said you've been a planner for a long time. But
yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. I definitely have my moments where I won't plan my week ahead, and it's amazing the difference between how I feel. Like, as I said before, you're kind of just dictated by your schedule. I also feel like I probably would just spend a lot more time at home on the couch, not really getting anything done.
Yep.
You know, those moments where I plan at the start of the week, like I'm going to the 6 a.m. gym class, or I'm meeting my friend at 7 a.m. for coffee and going for a walk. And, you know, you have to reach out to those people to organise that. The feeling that I get after, you know, catching up with a friend and having a really great conversation versus how I'd feel if I didn't do it.
Yep.
Like, it's just such a black and white difference, you know what I mean? Like, it's, and again, like, I like to stress to people, it's okay to have off weeks, and no one's ever perfect. I'm not perfect. I mean, calling myself a planner queen, but I'm not perfect when it comes to my planning. But I think as long as you are intentional and you go, okay, I'm not going to make myself feel guilty for what I did or didn't do, I'm going to move forward. That's the best thing. Like, each day, each week, each month is new, and you can have the opportunity to start all over again.
Would it be fair to say, I'll speak for myself here, but even maybe looking at how your community and It's Her Plan is running, for you, it's the ultimate test of accountability because now you're leading?
Yes.
Because I know for me, I've built my business from the same thing. What did I need in my life? And now every week it's like, I've got to show up pretty fucking good. Otherwise, you know, you've got all these people looking at you going, dude. And I don't feel the pressure. I just like the accountability.
Yeah.
Because I know that everything that I speak about doing and what I've done for years is exactly things that I need in my life to be the best version of myself, to create what I want, to have the happiness, fulfillment, wealth, all of that sort of stuff. And I feel maybe if I didn't have that accountability, it'd be very easy.
You probably wouldn't be progressing as you are either. But no, I definitely agree. It's and within the membership, I'm doing all of these things with the members. I'm not sort of dictating like, here, do this, and then walking away and then
so do your planner, and I'm just going to go chill out over here.
So our mindset challenge for this week is to have a cold shower every morning. And I've introduced ice baths into my recovery, but getting me to get in a cold shower at home is really fucking hard. I've just never enjoyed it. I hate it the whole time. But the last couple of days, I've just been like, well, I have to do it because, I'm telling everyone else to do it and all the benefits that come with it. I have to be leading by example as well. So once I've struggled through the last couple of days.
And especially now it's starting to get a bit crispy as well. That
probably not
morning.
The best time to be implementing it.
Do it December or January. That's what I've worked out. But I think another thing as well for those who are looking at whether it's the Strong Men of Value or your community as well, that it's in a planner. The cool thing, and this is sort of a cheeky referral plug, but it's also brilliant for helping people step up into leaders, because if you don't want to start your own business similar to how we have, which has literally been built off the back of what we needed and then the tools, tips and tricks we've learned along the way, when you become part of a community like that, obviously you get access to all the tools, tips and tricks, but you're also held accountable by a community, right? Which is so important, because you were speaking about before, being intentional with who you spend time around. So important. The next step, once you've sort of got in your groove and you're feeling good, is to invite mates along. And legitimately, as soon as you do that, you step up as a leader, because it's like, all right, well, I've recommended this.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be a bad experience for you. I want you to grow the same way that I've grown. And I see people who have done it and they start stepping up in a way that I'm like, fuck, I didn't even know you had this in you. I'm loving it. And it's cool. And it's purely because they've gone from the student to the teacher. Because once again, it's not about me, and I would imagine yours is the same. It's about the community as a collective. So for me, that's why the blokes are probably sick of me talking about it. I'm like, do you have a mate that wants a better life, like is pursuing potential, is wanting a better relationship, better health, whatever it is? Invite them in.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately, because you get to then be the leader.
I also think the benefit of that is you get to, I think for myself personally, when I do catch up with some of my friends, it's very surface level. Like, how was your week? What did you do on the weekend? Whereas this goes so much deeper, and you also, like, you're growing, celebrating, you're doing all of these things. And I guess it takes you on a much deeper level than a catch up, once a month would take you. You get to see all of these other people's growth as well as your own. And I think celebrating other people's wins, like, also inspires you to level up at the same time. You can see a huge bunch of women who are all moving towards the same end goal, all different at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But, when they're all working on the same thing, and they're all like, I've had members buy houses, pay cash for cars, like, not just lose weight, but just like feel so much better about themselves and the trajectory of their life. And for me, like, as someone who's running the membership, I don't know, I just get really like, I can't believe I get to do this, like, and help these women achieve all of these things. And it's really cool to watch everyone else sort of celebrate them as well.
And you probably don't also get to see the ripple effect of, like, these women showing up as their best self and ticking off all these milestones in their life. Because I like to think about milestones, because it's like, as soon as you hit one, you're on to the, you celebrate, but you're on to the next thing, because we're continuing to pursue better. And the ripple effect that I sometimes get to hear, I don't always get to hear, and I'm imagining you'd be the same, of like a bloke or a lady who does achieve a huge milestone in their life. They get to then go back to their environment where they spend a lot of their time feeling more confident or secure in their finances or whatever. That can completely change. Literally, that for me, it's like generational change, because if you can give someone their power back, fuck, that's exciting. Because there's too many people walking around, like, you walk through any street and just look at how many people are actually smiling. It's not many.
Yeah.
So we've got work to do.
And I think a lot of, I've had a lot of members come in that are mothers as well, which I think for a lot of women out there, once you become a mum, you do kind of lose that sense of, like, who you are. So it's really nice for me to hear from them being like, it's been so long since I actually put myself first, and it's been really nice, even if it is like the smallest of change. And whilst I'm not a mum myself, so I can't relate 100% to it, I think it's really easy to be like, oh, I just can't do that anymore because I'm a mum. But it comes with, like, you need to be able to communicate with the people around you and say, this is what I need in order to be my best self for you, for the kids, for my friends, for my family, and taking those steps to implement it. And I think once they realize that, all it takes is a bit of good planning to do that, and then they're a much happier wife, partner, mother, friend, which I think a lot of people just convince themselves, oh, this is just how I am. Like I can't change it because my circumstances just dictate that.
Yep.
But that realization that they're like, oh, I'm actually in control of like my own happiness is just really cool.
So cool. What's that process then look like? Say, for example, a lady's coming in for the first time. I know we spoke about this before, you separated intentions and goal planning, but if I were to come in and say, I want to feel like I'm back in control of my life, is it a simple process, or is it like algebra? Unless you're good at algebra, but like I suck at it.
I think it's really simple. I break it down as much as possible for you. Yep. And I would say if you're coming into the membership just being like, my life is fucking chaotic and I don't even know where to begin, I would say just let's start from scratch.
Yep.
How my membership works is every week you get an email on a Sunday morning which encourages you to sit down and plan. And I almost like hand everything to them on a silver platter. Like, here's your focus for the week. Here is your movement inspo. Here's what we're doing with our money, our spaces. Like, our spaces is a big one for me because I think at the end of the day, you can be busy and, doing things outside and work, kids and everything else. I think it's really important that your home should feel like your retreat. It shouldn't be something that adds to the chaos of your life. So we do everything in little tiny manageable chunks. I don't throw you into the deep end because, as I said before, like, it's an entire process. And if you try and do it all at once, you end up doing nothing. So it's a real journey.
Yeah.
And essentially I just break it down for you.
It's perfect. It's done.
Yeah. And you can pick and choose, like, the idea is to make it work around your schedule. So my schedule is different to a lot of other. I'm a shift worker, not a mum. It's about making it work for you. So I think it's structured in a way that says, okay, here's the things I have to do for this week. How am I going to make them work with my structure, my planning, my week? And then what are my non-negotiables, which for me is always movement. I think as soon as I implement movement into my week, the rest kind of just flows.
Yeah. Can you elaborate a bit more on what non-negotiables are? Because I know there's a lot of people who don't have any non-negotiables.
So non-negotiables for me is something that I need to do in order to be like the happiest version of myself. So movement for me has always been like a really understated form of therapy. I also find that implementing like alone time into my week is really important. And then obviously my intentions when it comes to, I think reading for me is like the switch off thing. People might have different versions of how they switch off, but for me, reading is like the best form of like separating, our minds can get so busy.
Oh yeah.
But if you're implementing reading, so I always do it before bed.
Yep.
But some people might enjoy doing that in the mornings.
Yep.
I think everyone's intentions are different, but mine is always movement, reading, and I try and I have to say I suck at this, but I want to get so much better at drinking enough water.
Oh, I was like, drinking? Oh, awesome.
Have at least 3 shots of tequila every day.
Just to wake yourself up and out the door, on to the gym.
Yeah. Hi, and welcome to this That would be fun.
Yeah, it would be awesome. Start a podcast with that too. That'd be brilliant. But it's the hydration thing is something that when I start feeling flat, I'm looking at, am I eating enough or whatever? And often it's just the fact that I'm literally not drinking enough water. Like, give yourself guys a challenge for anyone who's listening. Just for 1 week, try and drink, let's say 3 litres of water or 3 big drink bottles, and see how you feel at the end of the week. Take note of your energy every day. Out of 10 being like you could run a marathon maybe, or keep up with children all day. You need 10 for that. And 1 being like you're dragging your ass out of bed, and just rate yourself every day and see how you feel after a week of hydrating yourself.
Yeah. And that's the idea behind the membership as well, is implement these habits. And I think it's easy to sort of see the difference. Like after a week, you can go, actually, I feel so much better. And then the idea is to keep doing that and then building on it.
Why do you think people, I'm curious to this question, why do you feel people start building habits or just taking new intentions or actions and then stop once they get a result or even maybe don't get the result?
I think they stop if it's not something that they actually truly believe in or are passionate about. For me, the idea of like not planning anymore is just...
It's not...
No, it just can't happen. I'm twitching. It's like you have to love what you do, and it has to work for you. Otherwise, there's no point. And I've always said that. But I think people are also really results driven, so they have to see that it's making a difference. But you actually also have to give it the time it deserves in order to sort of get a clear idea on it. And I always say, like, I might get you to implement something in a week that you're like, I actually fucking hated that. If you don't want to continue doing it, don't do it. There's plenty of other things that we can do to make you feel better.
I think that's the important thing is there's so many tools and resources, and I think that's what overwhelms a lot of people.
Yeah.
But if you can just say, okay, I'll just take action on this one thing that you may serve up every week, and it's like, okay, that I feel that does add value to my life. As you said, keep doing it. If you don't feel it is, ask yourself, okay, why do I feel that potentially didn't add any value or didn't work for me? And is there anything that may be similar that has a few tweaks that is going to be better suited, or do I just need something completely different?
Yeah.
And I think because I'm big on getting people to do morning routines because it's setting their day up for what they want to achieve. And I go through phases where when I'm heavy into work, I've got like a really structured, pretty heavy morning routine. And when I tell people, they're like, whoa, I'm like, you don't need to do that. You could literally just go for, grab yourself a coffee and go for a walk if that sets you up for your day. That's fine.
Yeah.
Just pick and choose what works for you. And obviously, as our life gets busier or situations change, adapt. Don't freak out.
Yeah.
Just be okay with it's fine, but ask yourself, what's the one thing that if I have to cut everything else out, that's going to help me have the most, X day that's going to get me the result that I want, whether it's beneficial, productive, fun, whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah. And I've always said, like, when it comes to your planning, you have to learn to be flexible. Like, nothing is concrete, because that's where people come unstuck too, because they're like, things change. You have to be able to work around that and not punish yourself if a day didn't go as you expected it to. I think at the end of the day, if you wake up and you have like it's about your mindset. Like, if you're focused on what you want your day to look like and you attack it with the right intentions, like you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
It might not look perfect when you get to the end of the day, but you've done things with intention. And I think that puts you like so much more just in a much better space than someone who didn't.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It just, crumbles around them. And there's definitely people that you may speak to or spend time around, and every time you see them, their life's falling apart around them, and you're like, okay, well, what are you actively doing? One, are you aware of the fact that you're maybe the reason why a lot of this stuff's happening because you're not being intentional?
Yeah.
And then when we try to compare results, and this probably goes back to planning, definitely goes back to planning. If you're not getting the results that you want in your life and you aren't planning, how do you expect to look back and go, what's working well for me and what's not?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's probably one of the most powerful things. We just finished our 12-week game plan Friday or something, yesterday, really Sunday. And now I get to go back. We've got this whole week to just go back over the 12 weeks and see how many, see what our consistency was like, see what our mood was like, what we were doing well and what we weren't. So then when we start again, we can go, okay, well, the one thing I want to improve might be my movement over the next 12 weeks, or it might be practicing gratitudes, or it might be not drinking coffee, whatever it is.
Yeah.
To see how that can improve our mood, our lives, our relationships, and all of those key areas that are so important, I believe, as you said earlier, fundamental to living an exceptional life.
Yeah. I think also like a major thing that I tell people, at the end of the day, you can sit down on a Sunday and plan out the most beautiful, perfect week, but unless you're actually taking action, that's where the magic lies for me. You have to be willing to take action.
Yeah.
I can't make you do those things. I can, I can teach you the best way to set things up, and I can give you all the inspo in the world, but unless you actually take action on those things, like, there's no point planning your perfect week. You have to be willing to take the action.
What do you feel holds people back from taking the action? Especially when you've got like sometimes I even highlight my diary. That's how keen I am on a Sunday to make it look good, like different colours. And sometimes I just don't fucking do the work.
Again, I just think like it just comes down to, well, like, are you making excuses for it? Do you not actually want to do the things you're... Like, I don't want people to put down that they're running 5K this week when they actually fucking hate running and they'd rather do a yoga class instead. Like, find your running or find your yoga, whatever that works for you. So are you picking the things that you'd like to do, or are you just doing it because you saw someone on Instagram post it or whatever the case may be? And I would love to create like unique schedules for everyone in the membership, but I can only give them what I give them. But at the end of the day, it's like not broad advice, but it's advice that sort of leads you in the right direction. And I definitely, there's a lot of value in there, but I think if you're overwhelming yourself with things to do, or you're actually not doing things that you want to do, that's probably where you're gonna stop. And we always, review our weeks every week. So you might be starting a new week, but you look back on the last one and be like, why didn't I do my morning routine every morning this week? And it's because you've put fucking 10 things on there. Like, just try to do 2.
Yeah.
Try to do 2, and then once you nail the 2, add a 3rd thing in if you want to. Again, as I said before, we try and do a million things at once and we end up doing none. So just strip it back. Simplify it. Simplify it
is the key. The 2 things I'm really picking up on is be fucking intentional and keep it simple. Everything that sounds so cliche, and it's like, no, I always often think, because when I see people who maybe have what I want in certain fields, I'm like, because I think I work hard, so I'm like, if I'm working hard, they must just have this overcomplicated formula to do it, when in reality, most of them, when you speak to people who have success in various things, it's like, no, it's just simple.
Yeah.
And like, it can't be that simple. But in often fact, it is.
Yeah. And it's easy to look at someone and be like, how did they, become so successful? And it's, again, as I said before, it's a time thing. I'd love to be at X amount of members and helping X amount of people, but it's like I just have to believe that I will get there eventually. I have to keep doing what I'm doing, one step at a time. Thief is the comparison of joy.
Exactly. And also just enjoy the process.
Enjoy the process,
If you don't enjoy the process, you won't be there in the long term. No. That's the most important thing. So how can people get involved? And ladies only as well.
It is ladies
only. All the blokes are coming to me, all the ladies are coming to you.
I feel like you've got the men covered.
Yeah.
I'll deal with the ladies.
Yeah, you deal with the ladies, and then we'll have a joint Christmas party.
At the moment, the best place to get amongst it is to follow me on Instagram. At It's In Her Planner. We are opening for quarter 3. It will be halfway through June. June. That I open up the doors again for quarter 3.
I can just imagine all the disappointed ladies at the moment who are listening to this now and they're like, are you fucking kidding me?
But I've got so much stuff in the meantime, I think. There's a lot of stuff on my Instagram that's like great to implement in the meantime. So really similar to yours where you share a lot of things you're doing. I guess just once you're in the membership, it's a lot more in depth and you have that. One of the best parts of the membership is the community. Like, just every quarter I get, new, more incredible, like the best cheerleaders, the most supportive bunch. Like, I might be biased, but I just think they're the best.
I'm biased as well, so it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
And one last question. What bit of advice would you give to your younger self?
Ooh.
We're going to
where do I start? Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Don't lose the things that make you special. I think is a big one for me. I've always considered myself relatively confident in knowing what I want, and I've always taken, really bold action towards it, I guess. But one thing I have realised is, there is only one you, and the things that make you special are the things that you should really hang on to and cultivate and really focus on. And it's something that I've probably been working on the most in the last 2 years is, getting back that spark that I used to have. And again, like being able to run this membership is the thing that's sort of ignited that all over again. So, I inject all of that into the membership.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been so fun. And I'm genuinely excited because the amount of times that blokes will say, hey, do you know if there's anything similar? But for ladies, I'm like, can't help you. Unfortunately, I'd love to be able to help you, but I can't.
Yeah.
And now I can. So
and vice versa as well.
So
like
pumped.
I've had a couple of guys. I'm like, lucky Jermaine.
It's perfect. All right. Well, it's been real. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
We'll do this again soon.
Sounds good.
Signing out. Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachlan Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.